proceeds to do something stupid. Anyways, we're going to stream with no viewers. Fix that up so we can see what we're doing. I don't know whether anyone will join, but hopefully this will give me some motivation to actually make something. Don't need that. Do you need one of those? Actually, wait, no, that's invisible. We don't need it. Did I do anything to this? No touch. I did do anything to this. I want the small one, not the big one. Double check the position. For the heck do you mean average view duration 4 minutes 3 seconds? Literally no one's showed up. Anyways, Let's see. Okay. That is now in place. Time for the painful part. Let's make that no longer touch triggered to make it slightly less painful. So what we need to do is find out how long this would take. And it's a little bit over 2 seconds. More precisely, it appears to be insert buffering noises. Probably, I don't know, share this somewhere. Yeah. Doot doot. I don't know how long it'll go for. Probably not more than 2 hours. Anyway, we can check and see that that's almost a full block away. So it's going to be like 2.07, 2.08, call it 2.073. And then we break out the calculator. And we find that in that amount of time, the wheel on the second wheel, which is over here, will have spun 71 3/4 degrees. So in order to counteract that, we have this rotate like so. Mark the other one as touch triggered since we don't need it anymore. Double check that I have the right objects there. Play pause again. And now this thing has been rotated precisely that amount of degrees, and we can take this other one free move it onto it to get the most accurate results, which I'm apparently bad at. And now that object stays there because it wasn't assigned to any, it was never assigned to a group. And then we can take this whole thing, try to figure out where it should go. Actually, I'm going to make, first I'm going to update the layering on these things. Including these two that tried to slip by. Wait, no. Alright, so now we move it that far. Might have to change the size of that thing because right now it's pretty big. Anyway, now move this fully into position using a rotating thingy. So that the dots are now squarely on top of each other. And now that thing is perfectly in position, and yeah, it looks all right. If I twist my head around in a weird way. Anyway. Now to do the same thing with a whole bunch of other objects. For example, this saw blade. Close that. And that. Okay. Back to this. Now increase that to perhaps 2.09. Yep, 2.09. And instead of 71 degrees, 71 3/4 degrees, now we have over 72 degrees. High minimal power. It will reach you both verbally and through text because I have no idea what the stream latency is. Also, let's see. I have no idea about a lot of things. I wonder what I sound like. I've never really checked any of my. Oh wait, no. Strike that. The whole Rub overthinks it developer's commentary. I had to actually check that. Anyway, we're now going to move this. I'm doing this whole thing right now where I create a massive wheel of, I don't know, really interesting things. I'll see myself out. That's group 2, that's group 2. Could be. Yeah. I hope this saw ends up in this right spot, honestly. Let's see. What am I doing? I think I'm in the play pause step. So then I can copy this and move it all the way over. Free move for hopefully better extra precision. If I can do a good job of free moving one of these days. We'll assign them groups later because this one wasn't moving with the rest of it. And then, right, the last step is to take this. It's already at the correct height. First, move it over here, and then 20 of these steps to the right. All right, that can't be right. That is because I lined it up with the wrong thing. And now we do a fat rotate, follow it up with a smaller rotate. And just like that, it's in position. I'm going to move it slightly, also scale it up a tiny bit. Not entirely sure. I did not mean to have that still selected. Not entirely sure what the saws are what sort of design the saws are going to use. I think I have a couple from earlier in the level. There's just some plain saws there. Oh no, this one's invisible, and then this one has a bunch of things inside it. What happens if I undisable that? No, I'm going to undisable that because I just know that I'm going to forget to otherwise. I do not like the outline color of those spikes. I'm not sure what I can do about it just now. Maybe I can get rid of it entirely and just use some of the 3D outline objects to get those to work. Anyway, on to the next object. It's going to be this saw. And to get, as usual, we increase that until we get to we increase until their duration is exactly on top. Late at night and raining. Ooh, lucky you. Yeah, it is a little later than I would have liked to start streaming. Anyway, duration on this 2.839. Takes 10.4 seconds to do a full rotation. So this is going to be 98.27. Since that's more than 90 degrees, we're going to do a we're gonna chop 90 degrees off of it and take all of these dot objects and rotate them manually. Like so. Why? Why is the shader happening? I have preview shaders off. And it doesn't go away unless I touch trigger that. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, the rotation has now happened. We now mimic it. Yeah, you're right, minimal power. GD is just a flawless game with 0 bugs. XDDDDD. And yeah. I'm gonna make a copy of it. Just in case, because I tend to mess things up. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's now in position. And we do the rotation. Honestly, being able to rotate things less than a degree like this can be a blessing, but it can also be a minor annoyance. Time for this structure, which I honestly kind of want to give a thing like this. So I will. Real quick. That looks correct. Need a couple steps. That thing is invisible. I'm gonna move it out of the way for just a moment. I'm not really feeling so hot on that shading. So I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna copy it and move it into a better spot. Also, is that? Yeah, those are real. So, naturally, we do a quick copy values. Paste state, paste color. Move this to layer 8 as well. And voila! As they say in France. I should know my dad is from there. Except, of course, they say it without the terrible American accent. Wonder what position that's at. Whatever it is, it's probably fine. We don't have to worry about it. You can also copy and paste this. Yeah, do I want to make this recede kind of into the clouds up here? If I want to, I can always do that later. Move this back down. No, let's see. Moment. I'm gonna have to change that just a little. Because that is poking way too far to the side. So, we use our best friend by the name of warp. The exact shape of this structure doesn't matter too much, doesn't matter very much to the gameplay, so we're pretty free to kind of toy with it as we want. For example, I can make this thing quite a bit shorter. Do something like that. And then I can, let's warp this thing a little bit so that it fits in there. And then use another square, because squares are amazing. Scale that a bit. Didn't realize that it was scaled up to 1.99, which is slightly amusing. And then we decided to scale that. And then we realized that it's the wrong color. And then we need another one. But even smaller. still smaller. And paste color. There we go. I don't actually know if this structure looks good at all. I'm just assuming that it does. And they are just, those two are just far enough apart that they appear separated. Those might be a bit tangled in each other. And what power? Maybe still one. Maybe still watching. 2.6, perfect. And that's 5.54 degrees more than 90. And now that the dots should be in position, pause, play and pause, yeah, and unplay. Those are all on the invisible group. Probably said this a bunch of times already, but the main goal of this, I guess, of this level is to make a level where the gameplay consists of as many invisible portals as possible while still being readable, which is, it's an interesting concept. Started when I was playing, what's that level? What's that? I was playing, I think, an autumn-themed level that used the song Wind Glass. And I wasn't really paying attention, and there was a portal that I didn't notice, but I think it was a ball portal. The point, as soon as I moved that into position, the interesting thing was that even though I didn't notice the portal, I continued playing and then realized, oh wait, there was a portal there. I am ball mode now. I realized that the gameplay was so well made that I guess it was possible to sight read it even without knowing what game mode you were in. which I found quite interesting. Got me thinking, how sight readable can gameplay be without knowing what game mode you're in? It's kind of annoying to try to try to figure out what you're doing when it's all rotatey like that. Especially when I have made a mistake. Because something got left behind. Yeah. Fortunately, we can just make a copy of it. Put it approximately into position and then just like eyeball it from there. Which is probably a terrible idea, but I'm full of terrible ideas. And give it the correct layer ID or whatever. Copy that without the group for later use. And kind of just move on. And now I guess we can create a copy of these two orbs. And it just so happens that the area that they're going into is almost exactly at 90 degrees. So I'll assume that for the moment, that it is at exactly 90 degrees. Scale 1.5. It's almost perfectly in line with that. That one is slightly lower than that. So those are actually close to being in the right positions. All right, now you can get rid of the originals. And as for this one, give the original the invisible group. Double check the position. It is sort of like that. Okay. And now that one, we'd say no touch. Because that one is going to be a not actually real one. The real one is going to be invisible because, frankly, I do not trust Geometry Dash rotating dash orbs. The other orbs should be fine, though. I wonder what happens when you spin those. Because they have kind of the little arrowy thingies on them. I don't really know whether those arrows just depend on what gravity you have, or whether it's something that actually happens when it's first placed down in the level. And now, those saw blades. So we move this over. We get it just right. And then play with the duration of this. It's going to be about a bit over 0.4 more, so 3.2-ish, a little less. Ooh, perfect. That's 110.08, which if you take away 90, you get 20.08. I wonder when other creators make the whole, I guess, rotating sections like this, do they go through this whole calculations, or is there a faster way? Those cells, because I now have correct ones. Alignment looks good. And the final rotate. Okay. Yeah, if you follow the curve around that thick, that points right through. And next object. Wondering whether or not I should put some structures there. Yeah, let's go for it. Why not? Actually, I have part of it that I have a part of a structure that I can use. That'll probably go well. And then I think I wanted to put a triangle. I want to put a second one, thank you. And of course, rotation is like 1/1000th of a pixel off. State paste color, free move to get rid of that like, off by a pixel nonsense that's so common in GD. Maybe use one of these to fill in the gap. But with a slightly smaller size. Alright, that'll do. Paste state and color. And equip these. And what color to use? I am inclined to give it a very neon color. Yeah, I know it is a bit weird for me to not be playtesting the level for this long, but that is mostly because I am planning to just do this one thing over and over. That doesn't really, which doesn't really involve the gameplay, and I've already playtested the gameplay to all heck, at least as far as I am able. Now we can take this and say, you are now a structure. And add some glow to it. What is the spacing on this thing? The answer is probably you do not want to know. So if we take from down here, then we can at least get the glow objects to be perfect-ish. Hey, if you think that'll help with motivation and productivity, then go for it. It's totally possible that it won't help at all. Wonder if for some people playtesting the level is a big part of what keeps them motivated. And ooh, I can throw in one of those. And should probably throw in one of these type. What is that type again? That. Yeah, that's pretty good. Inspirations, at the moment, probably audiovisual. At least I wish. Mostly because his execution is somehow always super on point. But I can never seem to get that kind of good execution. I feel like execution is typically one of my biggest weak points. Where I can have, if I have an idea that sounds really good, I tend to, I guess, almost essentially squander it, I guess. Well, either I tend to struggle to make, I either struggle to make it look good in practice, or I find a way to do it that takes such a horribly long time that it's not really worth trying, I guess. Wondering how if you want to see what this looks like. Well, you'll have to give me a moment because there's a lot of junk down here. This is all backups in case something goes horribly wrong with the rotating part. That should be out of the way. There is also the problem that how do I mark where this start position was? I'll just throw a glow object down. Or better yet, I can throw an object that I know I wouldn't use otherwise. But that feels super out of place. I don't know, let's put one of these and like put some random warp on it, like so. It's gonna look super out of place. Just a second fingerprint sitting in the open. Play pause. Where are we? Nope, I don't pick that spot. I'm gonna also need to alpha group 2. Alright, let's see what this. Bruh. First of all, where the heck is my platform? And I don't mean the visible one, I mean the one that's supposed to be there on group 14. Here somewhere. Well, butts. Did I delete it by accident? It looks like I deleted it by accident. Yeah, particles flying by is probably a great idea. I'm not really on that stage of development yet, but it definitely sounds like a good idea. I need to check now. Moves -10. Okay. Yeah, clouds, speed lines, dust. I've added some clouds-ish sort of objects here. Kind of just copy and pasted a design as partially as a placeholder, partially because I'm pretty bad at not copy and pasting things. Anyway, we now give this group 14 and hope that it actually works this time. Oh, and also give... How's that? Yeah, it's all 3551. Dang you, game. If we give these the actual groups, then they'll rotate along with everything else and we can hit the play button again. The update broke. The update may have broken that duel. Honestly, if you have ideas for this part, fire away. I should probably write them down. Oh, it does work. But the orb priority is all messed up. Let's make a little space to write stuff down here. Shut up, computer. Ideas for this part. Credit to minimum power. Sense of speed. Making the blocks pulse or move. If something's already rotating, making it move is going to be really hard. I mean, it's rotating on a pretty big axis and it only shows up once, so I could make that work. I guess I don't want to do too much. I don't want the blocks that you're actually walking on to move too much, because the invisible portals are already going to be kind of taxing on the gameplay's readability, and I don't want to do if I can help it, I don't want to do anything that might make that readability any less. I might add a sort of inside layer to the block design that would move when the player touches it, or that might like move up and down to the song. I can definitely make them pulse on touch. That shouldn't be too hard. Let's see, where were we? We were taking this. And I could actually take that and make it spin. Sun in the background? Yeah, I'm probably going to put in some sort of sun or bright light. Hi, Billy. Thanks for the suggestion to use to try to take inspiration from audiovisual for backgrounds. I definitely should do that. My artist is, I mean, that could be a bit of a toss-up, but it'd be either Acropolis, Windy Landscape, Phases, or maybe The Furious. Depending on which you think is harder. They have 95% on Supersonic as well, but which I personally found significantly more difficult than Acropolis, but I'm not really sure if I want to finish that one. I'm honestly tempted to just try to get 90% or more on as many extreme demons as I can, which I currently have none, because I haven't tried it all. Because, I don't know, haha, funny. .203. 10.87. 7. You know what? This saw blade I should probably just eyeball that one. Ah, yes, of course. Parallax the clouds. Yeah, I think that was actually my original intent, to have the clouds parallax. But what with a couple of redesigns of the whole cloud layer, it might have gotten a little lost in the sauce. Anyway, oh, where were we? We were taking this. Oh. And we were going to rotate it, and then give it a light spin into position. Effect. And I don't remember what 08. And yeah, these two are also not terribly precise because you're not actually walking on them. So I can probably eyeball those as well. Do this one first because it'll be anchored to the cloud layer. The other one I realized will not be anchored to the cloud layer. So I can probably just throw a cloud or two together to anchor it to. Sky Tower by Rafer. Yeah. Yeah. Sky Tower definitely sounds like a good thing to take a look at. Give me a moment though. I am buildering. There we go. There's a, I don't know, thingy sticking up. I'm sure I've probably played Sky Tower in the past before. Teach you? I mean, I have very little idea of what I'm doing right now. So, I mean, step 1, check other fairly recently created levels and take some of the designs on those and like iterate on them. I guess for example, this design here, I saw Judd did a showcase of a similar design, so I was like, hey, that looks cool. Um, Probably the biggest thing that has helped me is in creating is having a fairly clear idea of what I want something to look like before I start making it. Might not help that much with motivation, but it certainly helps when I'm trying to actually make it, because I have some sort of picture in mind. But yeah, experience is a big thing. Um, Apparently glow objects are really good. Yeah, with pretty much all art, being able to make good gradients is a huge part of a high quality design. Although you don't always need to have gradients, but they're usually quite helpful. Where was I? I think I was over here. Oh, and the last thing, of course, is try to get familiar with the tools that you're using. I think there might be another Billy in Geometry Dash that I've interacted with in the Team Arcade server who has made some minigame levels. I'm going to do a quick little thing here where I kind of sneak a couple of glow pieces in between those. So now the two different cloud layers kind of stand out from each other a bit better. And well, that actually is a fairly good cloud already. But I'm going to add a couple more small pieces. And take one of these and scale it all the way down for absolutely no reason. So there we go. Now we have a happy little cloud there. Just like so. Now, let's put it all on the same layer. So I can actually make sure that I've got it all selected. check its position with relative to that saw blade. And use the free rotate to rotate it into place. And you can always edit its position later on. So I'm going to check. That port is not invisible. Okay, so I could use it to figure out where to put other things. I think next up is the annoying part. I think. Would that really be annoying? No, that only takes up like that only takes up like half a wheel. So I might actually have space for that. Let's see what happens if I make these concentric. It of course does not have nearly enough space, but we can always fix that. It's also rotated so that those are more closely aligned with, I don't know, just generally. You know, instead of just hoping that it's circular, I should probably make sure of it in some way, shape, or form. And to do that, we turn to Mr. Square over here. Okay, so those squares are all equidistant, so we can take them, rotate, and boom, benchmark made. So I can take these and warp them to our heart's content. Dang it. Anyway, as I was saying, time to warp these. We're going to warp it until that's right about in line. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be pretty close. And it's probably slightly smaller. It's probably slightly smaller, so move it slightly farther out. And kaboom! We now have a second concentric ring of cloud. Something is making me suspect that this piece here is too far in some direction. Also should just double check the alignment with all of these platforms. It looks like it's actually a bit large. I could make it significantly smaller. So I will do that. Time to become significantly smaller. Okay, that's much too much smaller. Let's do a half a block, maybe. All right. Have a good night, Minimal Power. I might have to stop streaming soon because I still have one or two small things that I need to get done before I turn in for the night. Excuse me. So I basically want it to kind of transfer from the bottom one to the top one. So the top one would actually only be a partial ring, and it would kind of come into existence around here. On that note, let's get this platform in. Do I want to get the portals into place as well? I should get these portals into place. They are. Yellow one is grid aligned, which is good to know. You get the two portals, the platform, and the orb I can eyeball. And then that's going to be it. Hmm. 0.33. $115.87. That is 25.37. First of all, move that start position back. All right, rotation should be done. Now the portal itself. All right. Portal is almost in place. Do you want to build a portal and bring about the end of time? Shoutouts to Limonade. Even though Hunter Peterson does not upload anymore. That's 2.9, so .514. 121.64. I wonder if anyone's still watching. Probably not. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. No worries. It's been a long time since I last streamed, so I'm not that surprised. See that, rotate 90 degrees. slightly. Almost 4.5. Try that. Pretty close. Wish you can hit the enter key for an OK. 3.785. $131.02. 41.02 degrees on this. Play, pause to get this reading. Take one of those. And finally, this blue orb. First, I'm going to get rid of that. All right, that'll do. Okay, you get rid of the original one. Can also get rid of those two, these three. Alright. That will be all for tonight. Over 20,000 objects. And as a last thing, I will shamelessly advertise that I have a happy little platformer level, which kind of piggybacks off of an earlier minigame level that I made, which was kind of getting over it themed, with an emphasis on Please Just Do Better by Carl Sagan 42. So this one is kind of a similar theme, but instead of trying to climb up a mountain and trying not to fall down, you were trying to climb down a mountain and try not to get boosted back up. So there's 4 different types of pads. Green, yellow, and orange give you higher and higher bounces, and the pure red ones both give you a very high bounce and are reusable. These particles indicate force objects. You can see how once I've set off these yellow pads, I can just sit there. But if I do something stupid, like stepping on that, I have been sent back. And I think there's a... Yeah, if you get sent high enough, you get a funny little sound effect, which I think is... I was hoping to make it a cry of despair, but that was the best I could find. Anyway, have a good night. Anyone who happens to watch this at a later time, see you next time.